Hello, everybody.
Asteroids
As
are
it is,
leftover
we're going to
debris
continue
from the formation of
episode
our solar system.
from Route 3, before Route 3,
About
at
100
Pewter
tons of
City,
these space rocks plunge into the Earth's atmosphere every
to
day.
Route 2.
Most are so small that they burn up before hitting the ground.
And we're heading through Viridian Forest again.
But larger asteroids pose a threat to humanity. Even one a half-mile wide could destroy a city and possibly bring down civilization with its after effects. But the asteroid heading towards us is more than 14 times that size. The same size as the one that killed off the dinosaurs. Falling at 43,000 miles per hour. There's no time to destroy or deflect it. Miami, Florida. It's a busy day on South Beach.
I send out knee.
Suddenly, an explosive light streaks across the sky.
What you'd see is a small spot in the sky
Flicks
that would
Caterpie.
increase in brightness to an unimaginable amount.
You would see the fireball, and it would almost look like a second sun in the sky.
If you could somehow be right behind the asteroid as it punches a hole through the atmosphere, there would be this perfect.
Now, I'm not
window
going to
the
try to
cosmos.
have her use the technique of just always growling while something's poisoned,
In the middle of
because
this
if she did
expanse
have
of
an
daylight
AI,
sky, it would be like
she
a
would just
black
do
hole
that and she'd
opened
be
up and you could
defenseless.
see through it into space.
The atmosphere is shock heated. You're effectively opening up a rarefied channel through the atmosphere for the several seconds that this mountain is just booming through the atmosphere, which rapidly
She
fills it
avoids
again.
Caterpie.
It won't be the last Miami sees of the killer asteroid.
Just double kick.
Over 650 miles to the southwest, in Chichen Itza, Mexico. These Mayan temples were once ancient observatories, where astronomers tracked the movement of the sun and stars. But these ancient people never witnessed anything like this. As tourists take in the temples, the falling asteroid intensifies into a blinding light.
Make a decision. That they get to rest. You run into Kakuna.
If you were looking up at the place where the asteroid is coming in, that could burn your skin and cause even permanent blindness if you were looking right at it.
The asteroid is headed for the Gulf of Mexico, over 500 miles off the coast of Florida, near the Yucatan Peninsula. The exact spot where the dinosaur killer asteroid struck. Seconds later, impact.
We're talking the release of something like 100 million megatons of TNT. That's something like 7 or 8 billion Hiroshima bombs, all in one place, all at one instant.
The asteroid eats away at the bottom of
get
the
a
ocean
healed
floor,
rest.
creating a hole nearly 20
Spend
miles
some
deep
time
and
here.
100 miles across. as wide as the distance from New York to
Get
Philadelphia.
evaluated.
The excavation
I
of this
know.
very large crater actually, to our eyes, would almost appear to happen in slow
We just want to
motion.
get to
This is
the
not a
parts.
small impact that happens instantaneously on a human timescale. This happens over several minutes.
The momentum of the impact has pushed the rock aside, and it continues to grow and open a crater, a hole that ends up being as large as metropolitan New York or London.
The team of professionals at Sound of Tri-State customize vehicles' form and function.
During this time, there's a little bit of Oceania
Outfitting them with current-day technologies such as backup cameras,
and
blind spot
Urbana.
monitors, GPS systems, and remote starters. They also make drives more entertaining for you and your passengers, wiring in high-fidelity audio speakers and subwoofers, video screens, and Wi-Fi receivers. In addition to customizing how your car or truck works, they also change how it looks with new rims and tires and professional window tinting.
"11 seconds after impact, the energy strike produces thermal radiation. Waves of intense heat travel out in all directions across the surface of the Earth at 670 million miles per hour.
Thermal radiation is just like the infrared light that's emitted by a fire
Right.
or glowing embers. You're not directly seeing, you're just feeling it.
As the
This is
radiation
what I
wave
have
hits
during
Chichen
the
Itza,
time.
Mexico, temperatures reach 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
You're going to be fried from the impact fireball. You're talking twice the temperature of the surface of the sun.
Anybody within a 200-mile radius of the explosion doesn't even have a
Caterpie
chance to run.
appears.
They are instantly killed. But the destruction quickly spreads far beyond the impact zone. The speed and size of the asteroid impact creates such extreme temperatures that it melts and vaporizes some of the rock from the crater, which is ejected into the atmosphere.
The crystals in the rock that the impactor hits can get vaporized, and that vapor gets flung out, and then as it cools, it condenses into glassy little spheres, and those can then get dispersed throughout much of the world.
The debris rains down on cities within about 600 miles of the impact. From Houston and New Orleans to Mexico City, with its population of 20 million people. For anyone caught outside, they face almost certain death.
Think sort of like a volcanic eruption, the way that you think of material falling out of the sky.
Mexico City will be covered with tons of ejecta from the blast, scorching chunks of the Earth's crust that will incinerate and burn anything they touch,
including humans. Anyone this close to the impact is burned or crushed by searing hot debris. But even people in cities farther away aren't safe. 1,500 miles from the point of impact, New York City is hit with chunks of rock and intense heat.
That ejecta has been pulverized to smaller sizes. It's entering the atmosphere at very, very high speed, enough to actually heat the upper atmosphere. The upper atmosphere is now radiating down on you like a sunlight.
From Central Park to the mountains of Maine, the entire eastern seaboard Earth becomes a blazing inferno.
The first thing that would happen is that the leaves would begin to steam a little bit, and then pop, and then turn brown and smoke, and finally burst into flame.
Millions of people have been killed in the initial impact. As the devastation begins to spread around the world, who will survive? And for how long?
You have to adapt.
Crime is
or
inflicted with poison.
die. 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid strike killed off the dinosaurs. If an asteroid just as big struck today, would you survive? In the Gulf of Mexico, over 500 miles south of Miami, an asteroid 7 miles wide, the size of Mount Everest, has crashed into the water, kicking off a chain reaction of horrifying disasters across the planet.
If an event the same as what killed the dinosaurs happened today, you're talking about the near complete destruction of anything and everything on the planet.
There's no place on Earth that is actually safe.
Carapace is
from an
terrified
impact of this
right at the time. A
Within
blast
minutes,
catches it and
the
scratches it.
asteroid impact unleashes a wave of thermal radiation and sends trillions of tons of rocky debris crashing across the globe. And now, the Earth begins to tremble. The asteroid strikes the planet with such force that it triggers earthquakes that travel from the impact site in all directions. In Los Angeles, a cloud of ash cloaks the city. Minutes later, a massive earthquake shakes Southern California to its core. At a magnitude of 10.8, it's the most powerful in recorded history. People attempt to find cover as thousands become trapped or buried alive under collapsing buildings.
Earthquakes can trigger other earthquakes. An impact that large could trigger earthquakes all around the globe. We could have cascading earthquakes all the way from Mexico up to Alaska on that plate boundary.
Approximately 100 miles south of Mexico City, a group of farmers takes refuge from the heat, debris, and tremors in one of the largest cave systems in the world. But they're far from safe.
If you're sheltered inside a cave, there'd be very, very strong seismic shaking. Certainly, even if the whole cave didn't collapse, you'd have blocks falling off the ceiling. Your entrance would be buried by very hot material that you wouldn't want to go near.
As the farmers try and wait out the destruction,
John Soul's Foods. When it comes from the heart, in half the time, so satisfying.
Earthquakes continue to jolt the planet. A shockwave radiates from the impact site in all directions.
Prime is still inflicted by the poison.
The shock wave, the compressed atmosphere that can't get out of the way fast enough from this hypervelocity impact. And that produces effectively a very big bomb blast.
The blast of air hits places like New Orleans,
Prime
Mexico
sees
City, at
Puff and
875 miles per hour.
Cleffa seems Puff
Almost
and
3
Prime.
times the speed of the fastest tornado on record. For those caught in these fierce winds, there's nowhere.
She lands the critical hit. Yeah!
Supersonic wind could knock people off their feet, and the whole city is now covered in shrapnels of
HP.
glass as material continues to fall from the sky.
As daggers of glass rain down from buildings, the blast wreaks havoc on the human body.
Would be obviously the loudest sound you've ever heard. The concussion from an event like that is going to burst your lungs, rupture your internal organs. You're going to die pretty much immediately from a blast like that.
With many parts of the U.S. either completely destroyed or on fire. The shockwave and ejected rock and dust now make their way across oceans. Cities in Europe and Asia are now feeling the asteroid's deadly effects.
Blaze used the ember.
In London, England, people flee
We're here
the
at
streets
Viridian
under attack
City.
from the scorching heat and debris.
London, like the rest of the world, would really first notice
Where
the
Route 2
global
claim
effects,
is
the ejecta falling
actually
out,
being
the sky
expressive.
turning bright red or white as thermal
But we'll get
radiation
into
came
that
down to the surface
in a
and
minute.
set things on fire.
To survive means going underground. Tens of thousands of Londoners find sanctuary in deep-level air raid shelters that were last used during World War II.
So thank you for
Thousands of people
waiting.
get down there
Restored
They could
your
live quite a while.
Pokemon.
if they had enough supplies. But you also have to think about the human condition. If your family's split up and they're in one air raid shelter and you're in another, if you're not used to living underground, you're talking about placing a species that is completely used to a singular way of life into an entirely different
Route
environment.
2 is where Steven
Staying
will be.
underground seems to be the
But-
only hope for survival.
I'm continuing as Corey.
As people all over the world seek refuge below the surface, how long can they really survive? Especially when the next wave of the disaster hits. $66 million years ago, an asteroid impact wiped out most life on Earth. What would happen if it struck in the same place today? Would any of us survive? In every corner of the world,
Just do some
human
training.
civilization is under attack from a series of catastrophes
HP attack.
triggered by the massive impact.
Special defense rose the highest.
So you have rocks, fire, steam, pressure, sound, earthquakes, all at the same time. It's literally an apocalypse.
And this is just the beginning. When the mountain-sized rock struck the earth and the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, it created a ring of waves spreading in all directions, producing massive tsunamis. Waves hundreds of feet high surged toward the cities on the Gulf Coast of the United States, sending people running for their lives.
We're talking about massive waves, not one, but there's actually many waves separated by minutes that will impact the coast and engulf anything and everything in its way.
There's a clan of Rattata that we run away from.
Over 650 miles northeast of the impact, in Miami, Florida.
You catch too much
where the
attention.
asteroid was first seen blazing through the sky 9 hours ago. A tsunami. Over 30 stories
For all of us to run from a
destroyed the
clan,
city.
we're running from a clan. A mountain.
In the peninsula of Florida, your highest points are only, maybe 100 feet above sea level. A tsunami of that magnitude is going to be pretty devastating.
A wall of water blasts through Miami. The wave churns a broken ice that pulverizes people struggling to swim to safety. After tsunamis ravaged the U.S. coastline along the Gulf of Mexico, approximately 100 miles south of Mexico City, the group of farmers who fled into one of the largest cave systems in
She's
the world
doing good, and she's resisting her
survived
attacks
the
from the
immediate
wild.
effects of the disaster.
Very effective. She dodges
They
her
dig
though.
their way out of the cavern, only to discover an apocalyptic wasteland.
Everything on Earth is either dying, is on fire, or has collapsed. You are walking out of this cave system into a modern hellscape.
The landscape would look like the moon. There'd be rocks everywhere. It would be an utterly devastated landscape.
If you've initially survived in the cave, you're still in deep trouble because now you're going to have to forage for food. The rotting corpses of animals that were killed. Probably any vegetation on the surface is going to be unedible.
Actually, have extra Pokeballs.
Within 1 week of the
I
asteroid
have 8.
strike,
Wow.
the farmers'
7
chance
now.
of survival looks grim. And they're not alone. Even thousands of miles from the impact site, the populations of Beijing, Moscow, and Cairo are under fire from the heat and debris that continue to rain down. A quarter of the world's population is already dead. Can mankind hold out? Or is this the beginning of the end? What if an asteroid, as massive as the one that killed the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, struck the same place today?
You can't say that she's Seal.
Could mankind
Seal's different. They're the unveiled Caterpies that are in modern version red, plain,
already the
blue,
Gulf Coast of the
green,
U.S. and Mexico
and
has
such
been ripped apart
versions.
by a hail of hot debris. shockwaves, and tsunamis. Southern California and parts of Asia have been rocked by earthquakes and searing temperatures. Nearly 2 billion people have already died, and most survivors are hanging on by a thread. But the devastation...
Now I'm just thinking about like if I should even evolve him.
Never-ending Pasta Bowl is back, starting at $13.99.
This isn't just flash and it's done. The secondary effects cause even longer lasting damage. If you survive the initial impact, you can step out into a hellscape of absolute chaos. And unless you're prepared for it, you're going to die. When the asteroid slammed into the ocean's floor, the ship did not.
But I'm going to.
Sulfur control alcohol produce reaction combined with radioactive and made the acid rain would do a huge amount of damage to everything on the planet. Buildings would corrode. Plants would die. Rivers would be clouded full of material. Most reservoirs would be undrinkable. You would have to have some amazing water filtration systems to even begin to think about survival at this point.
I have him use string shot to lay down the Pidgey's speed, of course, for the tackles to land effective. And if he could evade, he will.
They now must battle toxic dust, aerosols, and acid rain.
She
If you were to
evaded.
survive long enough and you were to come out of your shelter or anything like that, you'll have to have protective equipment. You'll have to have goggles from all the dust in the air. You'll have to have a filtration system, a respirator.
Stats got skipped.
The combined effects of dust, smoke, and acid rain
Coil is evolving.
soil. They almost completely block out the sun's rays. Without sunlight, plant photosynthesis stops. Without crops, animals will die. And without plants and animals, people will perish.
Effectively, the whole food chain is broken. We know that the extinction nearly 66 million years ago was a global event.
So let's me
beyond
Coil
just the
battle real
dinosaurs
quick.
dying, we know that roughly 2/3 of all species of life perished throughout the world. And so this impact had to have global consequences.
Changing the atmospheric composition that's going to severely affect agricultural plants. There's going to be a lot of people out trying to scavenge food beyond their local supermarkets, that's for sure.
You will do anything for your loved ones. That includes instituting survivalist tribal war to try and get someone else's resources. At that point, it's survive or die.
Nearly 11,000 miles away from the impact site, in the rural western desert of Australia, the Martu,
She has same practice on water gun before battling in the forest. We let her.
Cultures in the world, with roots dating back 40,000 years. But they've never encountered a mysterious disaster like this. The lingering acid rain wreaks havoc on the landscape. The slowly kills off their own food source, kangaroo. But the Martu are resourceful. They set small bushfires to expose the burrows of lizards. Small lizards also survived the asteroid impact 66 million years ago because they lived underground and fed on insect larvae such as beetles and cockroaches. which also escaped extinction.
The Aboriginal people may fare fairly well. They are used to rooting out, almost literally, food sources. They are used to hunting and gathering and having a deep knowledge of the world in a way that city dwellers don't.
But while the Martu use primitive hunting skills to try to stay alive,
defending against the rat-a-tat.
Faced with an environmental ticking time bomb that threatens our existence forever.
Of course, the water gun still reflects and hits
to ice.
Some that are in the wild in the background.
Mankind survive a massive asteroid impact, like the one that killed off the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. 6 months after a devastating asteroid strike, human life on Earth hangs by a thread. Some are living in bomb shelters and basements. Others
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
are living in caves. All are in grave danger, as things are about to get worse. A blanket of dust and aerosols is having a chilling effect on the climate. Due to the absence of sunlight, the world is plunged into a deep freeze. An impact winter.
Its wings are protected by rain-repellent
The amount
dust.
of particulate that will be thrown in the air
As a
during
result,
asteroid
this
impact
Pokemon can
is
fly
enough to cool
even
the
in
planet
the
extremely
rain.
rapidly, days, weeks, months, because
That's neat to
temperatures
know.
will absolutely drop.
It's a perfect double whammy. First, the hot fire, and now, freezing temperatures. It would bring many species to the edge of existence.
Around the globe, the average temperature plummets nearly 13 degrees. It's a worldwide chill that reaches extremes in places like London, where the spring temperatures are 50 degrees Fahrenheit below normal. The air raid shelters, where tens of thousands had taken refuge, have become mass graves.
Gets into this battle, and then we're going to conclude the episode.
Try not to become the final victims of a new mass extinction.
Living with no sunlight, no animals on the surface.
As we're going to go deeper into forest.
You'd have to be comfortable leading. Not a whole lot of people are like that, unfortunately.
As it is, the tile dimensions do show how length is from the start out position whenever
1 year after the asteroid impact,
things grow and
toxic
retract.
dust begins to dissipate across the globe, allowing the sun's rays to reach the Earth's surface once again. But with this, another danger awaits the survivors. The Earth's ozone layer, an atmospheric shield in the planet's stratosphere.
Like, comment, subscribe, playlist add.
The impact would eject a lot of compounds that would react with Earth's ozone layer in the upper atmosphere, destroying them. And then the sun's ultraviolet radiation would be much more likely to penetrate through Earth's atmosphere, react with our living cells, and cause mutations, most of which are hazardous to our health.
If